Today I'm sitting with Christine Landon, who is one of the co-founders at the Good Registry. Christine, thank you for taking the time to sit with us today.
Kia ora, Gemma. Thank you for inviting me on.
No, I wanted to talk to you because I'm really interested in talking to people who are doing interesting things, and the Good Registry seems to be something that's quite special. So, for those who aren't familiar with the Good Registry, could you give us a bit of a background? What is it, and what's its journey?
Okay, it's a social enterprise, and it's a gift platform that is not a gift platform. We started it because we felt like there were too many wasted gifts in the world, too many wasted opportunities to celebrate special occasions where people were receiving things that they didn't really want or need. And that has a price tag for the person giving the gift as well as for the planet. There's a lot of gifts that end up in landfill or in people's cupboards and drawers that never get used. And there was a mountain of resources that went into producing those gifts, and we'll never get those resources back for future generations. So what we created was an opportunity for people to use the money and the gifting opportunity to donate to good causes instead, but not to take away from the recipient the joy of receiving a gift experience. So the gift experience for the recipient is that they get to choose a charity or charities that they would like to support. So people can choose to support causes that are close to their hearts. And we have 65 New Zealand charity partners. So if you receive one of our gift cards, you can find a charity almost certainly that is close to your heart, depending on your personal circumstances or your family circumstances. If you love animals, we've got animal charities. If you have ill health of some sort in your family, you'll probably find the charity there that's working with other whānau or even your whānau with similar health conditions. We've got environmental charities if that's your thing. So real wide breadth, and with one gift card people could support lots of different causes as well. So they're not limited to causes they might ordinarily support.
That is super special. And you're getting some really amazing results, I noticed, via your website. The statistics are incredible.
We have raised well over $1 million now for social good, and that's money that wasn't previously in the philanthropic sector, which is a really important part of what we do. It's not just asking people to donate money that they didn't have in their pocket. It's asking people to not spend that money in the shops and to have it go to charity instead. So that's money that's helping good causes, and it's also given thousands of people who otherwise might not have an opportunity or even a kind of desire to donate to charity the opportunity to do that and to experience the joy of giving, because it really is just a real endorphin hit when you know that you've done something kind and generous today. So when somebody receives one of our gift cards, they get to have the experience of going and choosing charities and walking away feeling like a better person for having done that. And then the other really big part of the impact that we're having is the tens of thousands of gifts that aren't adding to our landfill and haven't taken resources from our papatūānuku so that they can be saved for future generations. And lots of carbon emissions that have been avoided as well in that.
Absolutely. That's really epic. So how did you go about getting your first sale, for want of a better word?
I need to go back in the story of the Good Registry to explain that one. When we had the idea for the Good Registry, which was coming up to 6 years ago, the concept was actually based on something that I had personally experienced called charity water. A friend had a birthday party, and she had asked friends not to give her gifts for her birthday party, but if they wanted to give her a gift to donate instead through the Charity Water website. And there's functionality on the Charity Water website specifically for birthday registries. And I thought, wouldn't that be wonderful if everybody was doing that for their birthdays? But I know that not everybody's going to want to do it for Charity Water. What if I could do it for a charity that's close to my heart? So the concept of the Good Registry to start with was registries, and that's why we were called the Good Registry. So people could set up a registry for a birthday or a wedding or a baby shower, an event like that, and choose the charity that they wanted to support, and their friends and whānau could come to one website to make donations, and they could collectively see how much had been raised by all of the friends and whānau on behalf of this person who had set up the registry. So the first thing that we were looking to do was to get general public, people like you and me who were celebrating birthdays, to want to create registries. And to get to those people, we actually decided before launching the Good Registry to do a crowdfunding campaign. And that had a dual purpose. It was so that by the time we launched, people had already seen us, heard about us, and felt invested in us. It also helped massively with the cost of building an expensive web platform. But it was definitely a twofer for us of wanting to get that profile before we launched, wanting to get people who felt like they were part of our journey and wanted to set up registries once we launched, as well as the money that we were able to raise to help to build the platform. But once we launched, we realised that this fabulous idea that we had about registries had more limited appeal than we expected, and it wasn't actually hitting another problem that people were experiencing that we could help solve, which was the gift giver who had money to spend, had a gift to buy, didn't know what to give the person. That person hadn't created a registry, but they wanted to give them a charitable donation gift. So we set up gift cards as the answer to that. And that partly came about because we were approached by, in a B2B context, by the cooperative bank saying, oh, we'd really like to be able to use the Good Registry, but how do we use it to do gifts for our staff or our clients? And we were like, oh, nah, you can't. It's not that model. So we created gift cards which businesses or individuals could use. But what we didn't want to do was the model that already exists in the world of saying, I have sponsored a child for you, or I have bought a goat or a chicken for you. We wanted to say, I have donated $50 for you. Which charities would you like it to go to? What do you care about? So our model was gift cards that the recipient had the experience of going on and redeeming and making their choice with, rather than receiving a voucher saying a donation's been made on your behalf. And that solution has been a massive hit, particularly with corporate givers who are switching out all of that corporate branded stuff that often isn't hugely appreciated and can't even be regifted when you've got a breadboard with a corporate's name emblazoned across it, or a Lazy Susan or whatever it is. People don't necessarily want to use that kind of thing when they're having dinner guests with a corporate name across it, and they can't regift it either. So yeah, corporates have come on board in a big way to use our gift cards as part of Christmas giving, as part of staff rewards and recognition, as part of celebrating special milestones with clients or staff, all kinds of ways that corporates are using it instead of giving the typical gifts that they might have given to staff or clients. Event organisers as well. It's a really big space where a lot of stuff gets given to speakers and even participants at events that can go to landfill, and speakers don't particularly want to be walking home with a massive bunch of flowers, especially if they've got a flight to catch home. More and more these days people are choosing not to drink, so don't want to receive a bottle of wine, and our gift cards are a really good solution in those sorts of situations.
Yeah, and there's that really special component of the giftee being part of the process. I think that's a really special thing that you've identified, because, those of us that have received a gift that's been donated in our name with an organisation we don't personally identify with, you kind of go, oh, that's cool. That's happened to me. I'll put that in my memory bank and I won't think about it again. Whereas if you're participating and you're proactively contributing. So I was sort of thinking, what's amazing about what you've achieved is that people are spending their money on these gift cards and not getting a shiny trinket in exchange for that money, but you've captured the emotion that that person would have received from the shiny trinket by the giftee participating. That's a really key piece of what you're doing well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the gift of choice. People want to be given the choice. And the challenge with so many gifts that we receive is that somebody else had the joy of going shopping and spending the money and choosing what they were going to give to us, whether that is something from a shop in town or whether it is a goat or a chicken. And we've received it and now it's like, oh, this actually has no value to me. But when you receive one of our gift cards, you've received the opportunity to go and do the giving and be the one that gets to feel really good. And it's really nice even hearing stories from families where parents or grandparents sit down with their children or grandchildren and look at the charities together and talk about what these charities do and why they're needed and make the choice together about which charities they'd like to support with a gift card, or if they want to set up a registry for a child's birthday. It's always the choice in the hands of the person who's not receiving your typical gift. And we do have still a deeply ingrained culture of feeling that we have to give people some kind of shiny trinket, or if we don't have a pile of shiny trinkets after Christmas, that somehow people don't love us. But this gives people a way to go, I'm giving you something, I'm giving you an experience, and for people to make the most of that experience.
Yeah. So, what are some of the lessons that you've learnt the hard way through the past 6 years?
I guess there's that first lesson around that the product that we first launched with, if you want to talk in kind of product business language, which was the registries, was not the ideal product in terms of market fit, because people don't like to ask for anything. Even if what you're asking for is a donation to a charity that you've chosen, people don't like to go to family and friends and say, if you're planning to buy me a gift, then could you please give me a donation to this charity instead? And the registries definitely still have their place. We could make a choice that that the gift cards are where it's at, and let's not continue doing the registries anymore. But they are a part of they're very complementary to each other. It means that we're a gift platform in terms of whether you're the giver of the gift or the person who wants to avoid being given gifts, that you've got a way in to be part of the solution to wasteful gift giving. But yeah, the lesson that we learnt around having launched with the product that was the less impactful product is the importance of I want to say the importance of doing the product research, but then I also think that often, and we knew when we launched that we were making a choice to rush to market without doing the research that we ought to have allowed time for, and we made the choice to do that because we wanted to get out for that Christmas, and when something has its time, then it's worth doing, and let's get out to the market, because if we don't do it now, then we're just going to spend another kind of year of our time and money and we might not be any better off. And by getting out to market with the initial product, we were able to find out really, really quickly through user behavior what people really wanted. And people themselves were able to find out through interacting with our website what they really wanted. Because when we first told people that we were launching this concept of registries so that people could avoid gifts, people are like, oh, great, that's wonderful. I don't like getting crappy gifts and I'd use it. But then once they were presented with, okay, here's our product, then they were able to go, oh, no, I'm not going to use that. And then we were also able to see who did want to use it. So people are really comfortable using it for weddings, because we have a culture where it's normal to set up a registry for weddings, and where you know you're going to have scores of people giving you a gift, and there's no way you want scores of junk gifts arriving in your new home as a couple. I mean, children's birthday parties as well. So we were able to see where the registries had value, and where the market was for that, and where the gap was that we had left. So yeah, the lesson was kind of that as much as we didn't get it 100% right, there's real value in taking your idea and getting it to market and testing it in the market, because that's when you're going to get the real truth about what people want, because we as humans often don't know what we want until we're given it, and then we go, oh no, that's not it.
And I guess being a predominantly digital platform, you can probably be kind of nimble with that, rather than having printed 10,000 hard copy somethings that you're stuck with and you've got to sell before you can invest the money again, sort of thing. You can probably be quite adaptable.
Yes, and building websites is very expensive. So we did spend a lot of money building the registry platform, because what we needed was quite a bespoke platform. And we spoke to developers to see whether there was anything off the shelf that we could use, and we couldn't find what we were wanting off the shelf. So we spent $100,000 to build the registry part of the platform, which gave us the functionality for people to be able to create their own profiles and create their own registries, and people to be able to gift, and to be able to see how much had collectively been raised, and to automatically notify the charities when a registry had been set up for them, and to automatically let us know when charities needed to be paid, and alert charities when they were going to be paid. And also the technology to onboard our charities for them to create their profiles. So that wasn't cheap. And then when we went to do the gift cards as well, there is reasonable bespoke technology for gift cards. So rather than spend probably just as much again to add the gift card functionality to what we built, we've ended up with 2 websites that are plugged together. And you don't know that when you come to our website. That's not what you experience, but that's what's going on in the background. Is you now come to our website and land on a homepage, which is an e-commerce platform, which is Shopify, which is where all of our content management is able to sit, and the gift card functionality is able to sit. And then the website that we originally built for the registry sits as a sub website to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, tech stuff is just amazing what you can actually achieve, isn't it? And you've just explained that the user is none the wiser, but you've got these completely different approaches to capturing it to make sure you can meet the demand.
Yeah, and it's not always ideal doing workarounds like that. Ideally, we would have a bespoke website for the whole thing with all the bells and whistles that does what we want to do, plus another 100% of things we haven't thought about yet. But the reality that we learned from spending all of that money first time around was, okay, technology is going to change, and we've got to experiment to get it right. So what is the least that we can spend to give people who are using our site a good enough experience, hopefully slightly better than good enough? And I would still love to improve the user experience on our website in lots of ways, and we have to be really realistic about how much is it worth spending, because it's not worth spending another $100,000. We simply couldn't justify that.
Before I move on to the next questions that I had, I really want to pause for emphasis. What I hear in some of your answers is that it didn't have to be perfect to hit go, because I think perfectionism is almost a form of procrastination, isn't it? Whereas you sound like you've been really nimble and adaptable. You'll get started, you'll adjust as need be, and just keep driving forward. So that's a really key.
Yeah, it's a good pickup by you, because it's something that probably that for me personally, not to talk for others, it was really, really hard to give up perfectionism. And when as we were developing the first version of the website, there were things that it wasn't doing that I wanted it to do, and there were ways that I wanted it to look And on the day that we launched it, I got some feedback which was like, oh, this isn't working, and oh, I don't like that. And I had to, there's part of me that just wanted to cry because it wasn't perfect. And then there was the other part of me which was like, well, we've got it out into the world, and now we fix, and now we evolve. And with everything that we've done, there's always been, it could have been better. And we have the limitations that we have. We're a social enterprise. All of the money that's been put into this is just as our money. And we're not taking a profit or taking payment from it. We're working pro bono in it to create something that has a positive impact in the world, and to have the joy of contribution and being part of the solution to some of the problems that the world is facing. But that means that I have to put aside the perfectionist tendencies and realize that done is better than perfect is a good mantra to hold.
Yeah. So there'll be stakeholders in your company. There's obviously the people working within it. There's your charitable organisations. There's the donors. So what's your approach to getting the best out of other people?
Uh, I take an approach of gratitude. Um, that would be and one of our values is one that I always come back to, which is generosity. And the generosity is in everybody who uses the Good Registry, but it's also in how we interact with everybody who uses and supports the Good Registry. So there's a lot of people who are generous with their time. For example, our pro bono partners in what they do to enable the Good Registry, and we are always generous with our thanks and praise and acknowledgement, and ensuring that the people who are supporting and enabling our kaupapa are recognised and thanked for that. We're always generous when a mistake happens, that everyone, recognising that everyone has the best intentions, and nobody's ever set out to make a mistake or to get things wrong. So yeah, I think that the generosity is a very big part of getting the best out of people, and getting people wanting to come along on the crazy ride with us, and people give us a lot. Our pro bono partners for Deloitte look after all of our bookkeeping and financial side, and Mage Binary look after our IT, and Duncan Cotterill do all of our legal work for us. We've got a freelancer PA who support us with administrative tasks, and they're all doing that pro bono. And the thing that has them stay with us, I think, is that we're incredibly grateful, and we don't take it for granted, and we're generous with the thanks and acknowledgement for that. And for the people, the businesses that use the Good Registry, I'm always wanting to shout them out on the social channels where people who are important to them, their stakeholders, will see the good that they are doing. And that's got a mutual benefit. It means that they get the recognition that they ought to get for doing the right thing, for doing good in the world. It means that they get some reinforcement that what they're doing has some reputational benefits for them. And it also means that hopefully other businesses see that they might be getting left behind if they're not getting on board with rethinking how they're giving, if they're giving in a way that's still creating waste and not a lot of joy for the recipient.
Yeah. So through all of that, how do you look after yourself and make sure that you're at the top of your game?
I'm very disciplined around the things that I enjoy in life. I do yoga most days. I meditate most days. I go for a walk most days. I swim in the sea most days, year round, and I'm not dogmatic about that. If there's things that are going on that mean that I don't have the time, or it just doesn't fit into the schedule today, then I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But I also know that the less time you have, the more important those things are. Even if I can only find 10 minutes for a meditation practice instead of 30 minutes, then I'm always going to have a way better day for having sat and done some meditation, rather than getting into the panic and the stress mode, and not allowing the time for the things that are actually going to help the head get cleared and help the work get done.
And last question for you is, what is the secret sauce behind what you guys are doing at the Good Registry?
I think the secret sauce is a genuine passion for people and the planet, and that's a thing that everybody. I don't know a human who actually does it well, unless they're a sociopath. That doesn't want to do what's right by people and the planet, and that doesn't care. And we've all got different ways of getting there, and we've all got different roadblocks and barriers and stories about what we can and can't do. But everyone that I know wants to have a positive impact, and we've all got that choice every day of the things that we do having either a positive or a negative impact. And what we've given people is a really simple way that they can use their spending power for good, and people like that.
Mm. Well, it's an absolutely beautiful thing that you and your co-founders have achieved over at the Good Registry. I found these statistics on your website of over $1.1 million worth of funds introduced that from donations, over $30,000 worth of gifts that have otherwise been kept out of landfill, over 18,000 gift givers that have been involved. And those numbers are just something to really pause and celebrate, because anyone starting an enterprise, those numbers are really impressive, and what you've done is that's why I wanted to talk to you. I'm super impressed by what you and your co-founders have achieved, and thank you for the amazing work that you're doing and for taking the time to sit with me this morning and share your journey with me.
Thank you. Hopefully it's helpful to other people. And I think the lesson from what we're doing is, when you want to do something, there's just go do it. And there's nothing better than the joy of having an impact, and the learning and the challenges along the way. They all add up to growth and experience.
Absolutely. I'm going to leave some links for Christine and the Good Registry. So if you want to, divert your gift giving or gift receiving into something that has a really amazing social impact, then you can find them easily. Thanks again.
Thank you.